Products Change the World. This is a startup guidance book written by the founder of Siri, the intelligent voice software built into Apple iPhones. At 288 pages, it primarily shares actionable entrepreneurial insights from Siri's founder's experience. Despite the current entrepreneurial enthusiasm, starting a business remains a high-stakes venture. According to the Chinese Youth Entrepreneurship Status Report, released by the Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security, the average age for first-time entrepreneurs in China is 24.67 years. While young people appear energetic and motivated, the outcomes are sobering. The success rate for youth entrepreneurship is below 20%, meaning over 80% of startup ventures fail. Some compare entrepreneurship to climbing Mount Everest. While many aspire to reach the summit, very few succeed and survive. Just as Everest climbers must extensively prepare by studying route maps, monitoring weather conditions, establishing rescue camps, and hiring experienced Sherpa guides, entrepreneurs need to follow proven protocols. While these preparations don't guarantee success, they significantly improve the odds. The same applies to startups. Successful ventures often share striking similarities, while failed ones each have their unique misfortunes. The author, Norman Winarsky, is Siri's founder and president of SRI Ventures. Having been involved with companies worth over $20 billion combined, he's a seasoned entrepreneur and venture capitalist. The book focuses on 4 key areas. 1. Building an effective startup team. 2. Establishing core competencies. 3. Selecting the right investors. 4. Avoiding common entrepreneurial pitfalls. Let's address the first point, building a high-performing team. If you're considering entrepreneurship, you likely have a formed idea already. Perhaps it's creating a product, offering a service, introducing a new business model, or building a platform. Like many entrepreneurs, you might even aspire to change the world. Whatever your vision, it probably seems perfect in your mind. You might already be imagining people admiring your product and praising your success. But take a step back and cool down. Ideas are just ideas, and they're abundant. The real challenge lies in transforming ideas into tangible products. Statistics suggest that only 1 in 1,000 people actually acts on their ideas. The other 999 people just dream about it and go back to their regular lives when they wake up. Following the previous probability, only 0.2 out of that 1 person will ultimately succeed, so don't celebrate too early. In the startup world, there's an ongoing debate about whether a company's success depends more on a brilliant business idea or the CEO and team who execute it. This is often compared to a horse and rider analogy, where the horse represents the idea and the rider represents the CEO. Which factor is more crucial? From an academic perspective, there's no definitive answer. However, most investors, including the author of this book, believe that the rider is the most critical factor in the entrepreneurial journey. Simply put, even a mediocre idea can succeed in the hands of a first-rate team. Therefore, if you're starting a business, the crucial first step is building a team and selecting an excellent CEO to lead it. You might think, as the founder, I should naturally be the CEO. Actually, that's not necessarily true. Most founders often lack the skills required of a CEO, such as focusing on team operations, customer experience, product design, appearance, functionality, cost, quality, timelines, and deliverability. This market sensitivity and familiarity comes from years of experience in the field. This explains why many university researchers and laboratory scientists often don't make good company managers. Regardless, once you decide to start a business, you need to leverage team strengths, with each person focusing on their expertise. Only such a team can succeed in fierce market competition. Are there standards for selecting a CEO? What qualities do investors value most? After years of observation, the author concludes that the most important ability of an excellent CEO is motivating employees to achieve the seemingly impossible. It means getting people to accomplish tasks they initially thought were unattainable. This ability is essentially the art of pushing people to their limits. It's a delicate balance. Push too little, and you won't unleash people's potential, as naturally talented individuals might not perform at their best. After all, everyone tends to choose the easy path. Push too hard, and people will leave, potentially breaking up the team. The sweet spot is pushing people just beyond their perceived limits, creating a challenging yet rewarding environment. Such CEOs are the most powerful, and their teams consistently create miracles. Take Steve Jobs, for example. Whenever he set a goal, everyone thought it was impossible and that he was crazy. Yet somehow, with enough effort, they always managed to achieve it. The founder of Gatorade often said the same thing. Outstanding leaders can inspire employees to achieve what they believe is impossible. They instill confidence and provide a sense of security, making employees feel that failure isn't the end of the world. Therefore, selecting a CEO with these qualities significantly increases your chances of success. Now, let's look at the second point: how to build your core competitiveness. When a company first starts, the biggest challenge is differentiating its services from competitors. Many people think that being an industry pioneer, having patents, assembling celebrity advisors, or securing a famous investor equals competitiveness. Strictly speaking, none of these truly constitute competitive advantage. For instance, being among the first to enter an industry, a pioneer in your field, only means you're the first to take the risk. This typically leads to two outcomes. Either you fail and become a cautionary tale for others to learn from, or you succeed initially but get overtaken by industry giants who enter the market later. Therefore, being first isn't a competitive advantage. Consider patents. They might seem like a competitive advantage, right? Many companies believe patents can serve as a protective umbrella against competition. In reality, they don't. Patents rarely provide significant value in preventing market entry by other companies unless you have millions set aside and are willing to spend years of time and energy on patent protection and litigation. The patent system itself is problematic. Some patents are granted on questionable grounds of originality. When challenged, patents might be invalidated or severely restricted, potentially backfiring on you. For a startup, using patents to attack competitors isn't a wise strategy. First, it diverts the team's focus. During patent litigation, the startup might lose customers and spend substantial money, causing severe internal drain. Second, if you're suing a large corporation, they likely have established defense mechanisms and deep pockets ready for legal battles. As a startup, you can't afford such disruption. Finally, getting involved in patent litigation makes raising capital nearly impossible, as investors won't want their money spent on legal fees. The conclusion is, don't treat patents as your lifeline. However, while patents aren't effective offensive weapons, they can serve as decent defensive tools. When challenged by competitors, you can use patents to counterattack. That's when their value becomes apparent. Patents serve as shields, not swords. Therefore, it's wise for large companies to promptly file patents for their new inventions. As mentioned earlier, being an industry pioneer or having patents alone doesn't constitute competitive advantage. Neither do celebrity advisors, as they can be easily bought with money. So what creates true competitive advantage? The author states that a startup's only competitive edge lies in developing exceptional products or service solutions. Success comes from winning through product and service excellence while maintaining first-mover advantage. That's what gives you the power to compete. Fundamentally, it's about creating products or services with outstanding reputation, demonstrating differentiation through genuine capability. Take Siri, for example. It offered a revolutionary solution that allowed Apple users to complete tasks through voice commands on their phones. It was the first to integrate AI technology into consumer products, making advanced technology accessible to the general public. Another example is cloud services, where companies like Amazon provide computing infrastructure. This created a new paradigm for data storage. These are examples of real competitive strength. When establishing differentiation, it's crucial to avoid direct competition with industry giants. While people used to think big companies were slow and bureaucratic, that's no longer true today. Modern large companies are surprisingly agile. They're like nimble giants. They remain vigilant about potential threats, constantly scanning the horizon, and have abundant resources. They can easily replicate products, so you shouldn't start a company based on an easily imitable business plan. That would put you in a precarious position. The right approach is to focus on peripheral businesses that large companies do but don't specialize in. Perfect these niches, and your chances of success increase significantly. Ultimate competitive advantage comes from specialization and expertise. Now for the third point, finding investors. Once you have a good idea, reliable teammates, and a solid business plan, it's time to seek funding. Many entrepreneurs think they can rely solely on their own money, questioning the need for external funding. However, venture capital isn't just about money. The resources VCs provide can be even more valuable than their financial investment. For instance, 90% of NASDAQ-listed companies have one or more venture capital firms backing them. VCs who invest in your company are often battle-tested experts in the field. They understand competitive dynamics, know what makes companies survive, can help avoid various pitfalls, and can attract talent. A good VC firm wants your startup to succeed even more than you do, and they'll provide practical support in various ways. Therefore, seasoned entrepreneurs don't accept money from just anyone, nor do they focus solely on minimizing equity dilution. They prioritize the resources that VC firms can provide. How should entrepreneurs approach VCs? The author breaks this down into 5 steps. Comparing it to marriage, you need to follow a progression from initial acquaintance and understanding to becoming partners who share both successes and challenges. It's a gradual process. The first round of talks is about getting to know each other. Many entrepreneurs make the mistake of monopolizing the conversation with endless talking. Actually, this initial meeting is about mutual understanding. You don't need to reveal everything. Just focus on highlighting a few key points. First, what you aim to do. Second, demonstrate your passion and how much effort you've invested. Finally, show that you have a capable team. Once you've covered these points, you can wrap it up. Don't go into excessive detail. Everyone's time is valuable. If you can capture an investor's interest in the first 5 minutes, they'll naturally want to continue the conversation. If they're not interested after 5 minutes, talking more won't help. It's a two-way screening process. This meeting should take no more than 30 minutes. Note that I'm talking about the actual meeting time, not your preparation time. You can't over-prepare, as investors will ask detailed questions about competitors, product differentiation, and your business model. They'll want to know how much funding you need and how you plan to use it. You should have thorough answers ready for all these questions, so preliminary preparation is crucial. If investors show interest, you move to the second round for in-depth discussions. Here, you need to provide more details about your milestone goals and specific funding requirements. The purpose is to build trust by providing sufficient information. It's your opportunity to showcase your capabilities. For investors, it's their chance to examine the details and evaluate your business plan's quality. For the startup team, you can assess whether investors can provide value beyond funding. The author suggests entrepreneurs should seek advice rather than immediately asking for money. People naturally enjoy sharing their expertise, and experienced investors can offer valuable insights. If you lead with asking for money, you might only get advice in return. It's like dating. Follow the steps naturally without rushing. When things mature, partnership becomes a natural progression. After this round, if both parties feel positive, you see them as your champion, they see you as a dark horse, and mutual admiration is high, you might feel ready to take off. That's when you need to stay level-headed. The third round is less pleasant. It's about discussing risks. You might say, "My venture is 100% guaranteed to succeed. There are no risks." That's impossible. You haven't done your homework. Venture capitalists aren't called risk investors because they love taking risks, but because they carefully weigh risks. You need to thoroughly analyze your advantages against your competitors' strengths and lay out all potential risks on the table. The more rational and comprehensive the analysis, the better. It's about sharing both profits and risks together. Being upfront about these matters benefits everyone involved. Beyond these considerations, you need to address many detailed questions. For instance, does your funding amount align with your plans? Have you set aside 6 months of runway for the next funding round? Have you identified your initial target market? These questions will help clarify your strategy. Throughout this process, you'll continuously refine your plans. Once everyone agrees on this round, the next steps become straightforward. You'll need to meet with other investment partners, present your plans again, and secure their unanimous approval. This is because venture capital firms typically operate on a partnership model, where decisions aren't made by just one person. The final stage involves signing contracts, establishing terms, and reaching an investment agreement. Then, congratulations, you've secured funding, the deal is sealed. Now, you need to give it your all and develop a viable product before burning through the cash, aiming to survive in the market. Let's move on to the fourth section, how to avoid common mistakes. Like climbing Mount Everest, it's wise to study the mistakes of those who didn't make it before starting your journey. Startups fail for various reasons. Some face unavoidable circumstances, like losing a key founder or encountering unexpected government policies that suddenly eliminate market demand for their product. These are like avalanches during a mountain climb, unavoidable disasters that you simply have to accept. However, most startups don't have such bad luck. They just keep making the same mistakes. According to the author, startup errors typically fall into three categories. First, insufficient understanding of customers. You might create a product with no market demand, or where the need isn't urgent. In venture capital terms, is your product a painkiller or a vitamin? A painkiller is something customers absolutely need, while a vitamin might be nice to have, but isn't essential. As an entrepreneur, you should focus on creating painkillers, not vitamins. Second, retaining an incompetent CEO. The author believes a startup is always dynamic, requiring different leadership styles at different stages. Early-stage companies need energetic, creative, and disruptive CEOs to lead the way. This pioneering phase might benefit from a more aggressive approach. However, once the company is established and needs stability, a more measured CEO becomes necessary. Changing leadership is often the right choice for companies. However, many CEOs fail to recognize this, as few can objectively assess their capabilities and step down timely while considering the bigger picture. The inability to change leadership at the right time is a common mistake. The third point is a well-known issue and a primary reason why most companies fail: poor financial management. It's like not properly rationing oxygen while climbing a mountain. The author believes that regardless of how much funding a company receives, if investors notice a culture of wasteful spending, they'll likely walk away, knowing from experience that such companies won't survive long. Financial vulnerabilities can exist in various aspects. For instance, hiring unnecessary personnel during the early stages or incurring excessive costs during product development may seem minor, but these issues can accumulate and become fatal. The author suggests that the only solution is for entrepreneurs to manage their companies like perfectionists, fully understanding that the journey becomes more challenging over time. Success becomes more likely only by maintaining constant vigilance and treating every decision with the precision of a tightrope walker. In the book, the author summarizes many practical experiences from the entrepreneurial journey, helping us comprehensively understand the startup process. When building a team, finding a reliable CEO is crucial, one who can be demanding and unleash the team's potential. When building competitive advantage, don't rely on the slight edge of being first to market or expect patents to protect you. Winning market acceptance with the best product is the foundation for survival. In discussions with investors, don't rush and don't accept money from everyone. Consider whether investors can provide resources beyond capital. Throughout the entrepreneurial journey, learn from others' experiences. While some disasters are unavoidable, common mistakes can be prevented through thorough preparation. Starting a business is like climbing Mount Everest. Despite countless challenges, people keep attempting it. Notably, the early failure rate of climbing Everest was extremely high, with many lives lost. However, with increased experience and better equipment, climbing Everest has become more manageable. Yuichiro Miura succeeded at age 80, and sometimes over 200 people reached the summit in a single day, making the peak almost like a marketplace. Has Everest become shorter? No, people have become more skilled. Similarly, as market mechanisms improve and experience accumulates, entrepreneurship will become less challenging, and success rates will inevitably increase.